It's Lil Baby.
Welcome to episode 34 of Conversations with Chai. I'm your host, Ihram Chowdhury, aka Lil Baby Ram. And today I have with me, all the way from Texas, my first,
What's up?
I got my boy Shaavir. What's good?
What's up, man? What's up?
Yo, let's pick this up.
Yeah.
First thing I'm gonna just get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
You're single?
It's
The content has to match up.
I gotta go.
No.
Currently, yeah, but like you know how it is, like situationships, complications. I guess I am. When people ask, I'm single. Technically, I'm single. Yeah.
This is such like a random like astrology girl question. What's your sign?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay.
Okay. I've also heard December Sagittarius men are red flags. I don't know if you've heard that.
I think because like when I like see your like content, I'm just like, oh, like you really, because you can tell when something's like authentic to somebody's, like even if obviously like you put some gas on it, right, for the content, but you're like, oh damn, like it does like align with like who you
bro, I'm
are.
not going to the airport every day and like
of course.
To see her. It's all like, you know, you understand, like sometimes on social media you have to create a narrative, right? So it's like in the beginning it was true. Like I was actually like flying across. My friends know, some of them know, I have flown across the country to meet somebody. And then I never like made videos about it. And now people just think like, oh, I thought you were on a plane. And I'm like, no, I was like recording on my bed. Whenever that was just an old video that I brought up and it just goes viral.
No, for sure. I think like that's like a tough part of, and I'm sure like you've probably like now done it long enough in your career where it's like real. Like people think like when you're shaping a narrative that it's like not authentically you.
For sure.
But it's like, no, like I'm like giving you pieces of myself, right? Just like on my terms.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. In the beginning, it was like, bro, I've had like, because we're in Houston, you don't really see like you know how it is. Muslim people don't really like come up to you, but like some do. When they do, they ask like, oh, like, did you find the girl? Aunties or uncles are like always asking my parents. And I've just like come to an agreement where I have to like, they think they know.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I play along. Sometimes people ask me and I'm like, yeah, we're actually getting married in a month. I just play along with it. And then sometimes I'm just like honest. I'm like, no, it's all fake.
About like the narrative that you're pushing.
Yeah, because it happens a lot. Like that question, and I'm just like, I don't know what to say. Like, you know?
It's tough because you're like, yo, like I'm giving you pieces of my life, but like don't ever get it twisted. Like you truly know like what's like really, really going on.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that's the point of being on social media. Everybody knows your life, or they assume they know your life.
How long have you been doing this now?
Bro, it's been about 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, I've been doing it for 2 years.
Stupid numbers for 2 years.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I respect anybody that does it from like small to really, really big, obviously. And it's just putting yourself on a screen and posting it and letting everybody around you judge you is commendable. It's just a big deal in itself because so many people don't do that. You know, they're so scared to, what is that saying? Log kya kahenge, you know?
Yeah.
And people, if you do that, you put yourself out there, like it's already a respect for me. I already have a lot of respect for you anyways.
I think that's the part that's like regular, like let's just call them like civilians, like don't truly like understand, right? Because I'm all like, yo, it's so easy for you, like in your, again, like this is gonna sound fucked up, but you from like your mom's basement where nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
You get to live this like very like protected like life, right? Like you probably like the average person probably dealing with like 5 people a day.
Yeah.
Right. Like those, and there's probably 5 people that they're already friends with, already know.
Yeah.
Anytime you put something out, you're immediately opening yourself up to thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, bro, think about any situation. You think 1,000 people are just gonna universally like you or universally be like, oh, I rock with this person.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing with that. And as an adult, when you grow up, you don't really realize, like, they don't teach us in school, you're gonna have all these haters, you're gonna have all these people talking shit about you. But like, if people experience that, like let's say someone has a viral video and their comments go crazy and they're just experiencing that, you don't know how to deal with it. Like nobody knows, you know, you just kind of like, oh shit, I'm getting a lot of hate. You either suck it up and take it, or you genuinely like, you feel it. You know what I mean?
Yo, you know what I think like prepped me like the most for that?
What?
I think it's just like life trauma. I think having like brown parents that were a little traumatizing, like made me so mentally.
They're always gonna be hard on you, right?
I'm all like, yo, like this shit is like easy to me. Like, I'd be like laughing at shit because I was like a little scared when I was like starting to post things. Again, I'm like a lot like newer at this than like even you, right? And I'm just like, damn, like I was like a little scared. I was like, damn, how am I gonna react when I start getting those like, yo, who does he think he is comments, right? And I'm like, damn, it don't really bother me. Yeah, like I've heard like the worst of the worst from my like parents. I love them, but like,
you're so right about that, because that is true. Because they kind of like, you know that when you're raised with like brown parents, you know, like no matter what you do, it's still not good enough because your cousin probably already did better. You know, so it's like that stigma, that thought process of like wanting to do more, wanting to do better will stay in your head, and you'll see a video and you'll try to do better than the other video, and you'll constantly try to progress because that's the way we were like raised, you know. So I guess it does kind of build you. It builds character.
I saw you I saw a recent one of your TikToks where you're like, yo, just like post that video, right?
Oh yeah. So oh damn.
What triggered that? What triggered that?
So honestly, okay, 2 years ago when I was doing this in my room and it was during COVID, everybody around me, like my community, right? Like, you know how it is, like a Pakistani, Indian community, Muslim community, they're very judgy, especially if you're a guy. Like, you're like, bro, why are you doing this? Why are you posting these videos? I was doing it for fun, and like people were actually coming up to me. Kids were coming up to me saying, hey, bro, I can relate to this. Like, and I felt like I felt impactful, and I was like, wow, even with like my low following, I was doing something. So over time, I kept doing it. Got extreme hate for it. Like, oh, what? And I recently the people that I heard from friends of friends talking shit were the people posting content now, making get ready with me's and putting, you know, they're just trying to trigger the audience. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, that, like, I was reading it. I made a video. I was like, well, you guys were literally talking shit about me. And now, 2 years later, when you see all these people succeeding and people making moves and going to these events and, you know, now it's acceptable in society, right? Why? Like, it irked me a little bit.
That I think is like always gonna come, right? Like, cause like people are so like, and I'm all like, yo, that's why you're really not going. I would say like you're really not gonna compete against me if you came like for this for the wrong reasons, right? Because it takes a certain like type of person to be the first one out on the ledge. Yeah. Right? Because like once something's like proven, everybody just immediately flocks to it.
For sure, yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, like when hip hop was like coming up, right? It's like, yo, like the first rappers like did it out of like purely like they believed in the art form and they believed in the craft. Yeah. Then you get like the whole hordes of people who are just doing it because like, oh, it's proven that they can make money from it, or it's proven that it's fun, or it's proven that it's accepted. But
no, that's like, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was telling one of my friends, I was like, bro, post that content. You know, people are gonna always follow the trends. People are gonna be, oh, like now you're posting. I remember it specifically, like I made a video of like my beard routine, right? And I got reached out by this really big brand, right? I was shocked. They're like in Macy's, or it's a pretty well-known brand. It's called Scotch Porter.
Okay, yeah.
And like I got bagged on by like some of my like family friends. They're like, why are you recording yourself like getting in the shower? Like, I get it. It's funny. And now I literally see people like guys, like brown guys our age, making the beard videos and like lining it. And I'm like, okay, so clearly there's a trend going on, or people just see the growth and the success behind it, and all the shit they were saying before doesn't really matter. You know?
You think that it's more so? Check me. I think that it's more so if you're a brown guy, as a creator, for sure. I think it's more, not that again, our sisters in creation, they also face like their own hurdles.
It's a lot worse for women on social media.
Their own hurdles, right? But I think like when people, especially our community, sees like a brown guy doing it, they're just like, bro, like, why are you creating content, or why are you starting a podcast? Like, go like,
go do something masculine,
right,
for sure,
because there's like a little bit of like, yo, like, why do you want to be like seen, right? And it's like that I've like felt so like a lot more, right? Like a lot of my friends say, they're like, yo, a lot of your haters are going to people who just don't want to see like
succeed,
a guy in that spot.
What did James Franco say, bro? They hate us because they ain't us.
But it's like tough because like, especially like men, like we don't look at other men as in like a supportive,
for sure,
like, light, right? Like we're never looking at like, we're never like, there's very few of us that are looking at another guy who's like creating and be like, yo, like
we're not instinctively doing that. Like it's not that I'm looking bad upon you, but I'm not like, yo, if I don't know you, I'm not gonna be like, yo, I wish you the best, right? It really depends on the person.
So I think that is like a big difference in like the South Asian community in terms of like women and men, right? Because like South Asian women definitely like I feel like are loudly supportive, even if they're behind the scenes fake. they're at least loudly supportive in the comment section, right? Like they might be like listen, behind the scenes, they might be the biggest
that
snakes.
comment section after a girl posts a photo, oh my God, girl, go off. Yes, bestie. And then those girls were probably talking shit about that girl.
Bro, you know how many of my girlfriends I've like had conversations with and be like, yo, I hate that girl. And I'm all like, and then I see later, I'm all like, wait,
bro, dead ass.
Weren't you just gassing them up in the comment section? Like
we see it. We see y'all doing that.
We definitely see it. But I do think that like I don't know which one I'd rather have, right? I kind of like the fact that like I have to just assume that nobody is supporting me.
Yeah.
And be surprised when people
You just gotta have that hungry mentality, bro. Like I think that's the best thing about being in New York. That's why I like it a lot. Like you meet these people and they're just like investment bankers and people making at 25, making six figures. And they're like, oh, I'm not even close to what I want to do. And it's like, if you're in Houston or in Texas, some people are settled. They're like, oh, we're good. 6 figures. You come here and they're just money hungry, just hungry in general. That mentality is like kind of what I kept in my head too. Like,
I also think that like people are definitely more open to people's hustles here, right?
Yeah.
Because like the appropriate response if you're in like a more suburban area is like, yo, like you could just like settle down, like have like get married, have a kid, right? And just like settle down in that spot. But in New York, everybody just A, understands how expensive it is. B, understands like, yo, this is like the environment, right? Like if you're gonna create something, you're gonna do it here.
It's like it's just like a big ecosystem. It's like a high school, low key. Once you're here, I feel like you can relate to that because you live here.
It kind of is, and I'm sure like you probably see it, and that's like the cool part because like we see it across like the whole like country basically in terms of like South Asian creatorship. Yeah, like think about how many people me and overlap.
Yeah, we have so many mutuals now that I think about it.
Right, so many people that we just know because like
we literally met through mutuals right now. Yeah,
people connected us, right? Like, and that's I would say like even heightened more so in New York because everybody's like right there
for sure. Yeah,
like I'm always trying to recruit more of us in here because I'm like like we actually need like. Obviously, there's a bunch of creators in New York, but I want like the best and the brightest here so we can actually create something like super valuable. Like I always like, shout out to Umsel, but like I think it was a huge deal when Umsel moved to New York. The level of events that we're able to now have because like Umsel's name is attached to it is like a big deal.
And he's such like a chill, humble guy, like great guy. I was actually, speaking of what you were talking about before, where like brown boys don't really like applaud guys that are succeeding, right? A guy I feel like that faced that experience the most is Pookie, is Brayog. Yeah. Right? And I know you guys talk about him a lot, but I like met him, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yo, this guy is like so chill and down to earth. And like the way social media shows an image of someone, it made me think too. I was like, damn, I wonder what people think about me if, he's getting all this negativity, he's getting all this hate. Because even personally, like, I was like, oh, wow, he grew so fast. I've been doing this for 2 years. Like, internally, I was, like, a little envious, like, I'm a human. We have feelings. And when I met him, I was like, wow, this guy is, like, really chill, down to earth. Like, he deserves it. Like, he's, like, a bright soul. You know what I mean? So, it's just, you just got to be a man about it,
I think that's, like, the tough part. I completely agree. Yeah. Like, you see somebody and, like, your first inclination is natural, right? Yeah. It's like, damn, like I want that spot. Yeah. Like that's like the hunger in all of us, especially as like men, right? Like we want to be like we want that spot, right? Like that's what makes us all hungry. Otherwise, like we'd all be fine being.
We want to be him, bro. That's our goal, right? Yeah.
But and people like kind of say like usually say that in like a bad sense, right? Yeah. Like people like always like I like talk my cash shit, right? Like I talk like pretty heavily.
Wait, what's your definition of him? What would you describe someone that's him?
What is my definition of him?
If you were to be like, describe him.
In like one word, I would say presence.
Oh, okay, that's fire. That's fire. Yeah.
In one word, I would say presence. Like like people like you can scream, I'm him, I'm him, I'm him. But the people who are truly him,
they don't
right?
Say it.
Or her, like they don't really have to say it. Hey. Like the rooms kind of move around them. Yeah. Like you feel somebody's like true presence in any room. Yeah. Like I would say like even like most of my guests have like real presence. Yeah. Like that's how they probably ended up on like my radar, right? Yeah. Like the fact that like, yo, like I can see you through like the social media numbers itself, right? Yeah. People always ask like, oh, is it just numbers based? I'm like, no. Yeah. Like, you have like real presence.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
Right?
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Like, bro, like I think about like, yo, you like Ashna, right? Like I think about people who have true presence. Yeah. Like if they're in the room, like, identifiable.
Really? Oh, damn, bro.
Yeah,
that's a compliment, my guy. Thank you.
No, but like it's like
I think you low key have it too. Now that I've like talked to you and I realized, I was like, you have that like positive energy that attracts that. Like you give off like a very like confident man energy too.
I think that's again like that's like something that like we hope to like again like people in certain spots like people always be tricked out as to why they're there, right?
Yeah.
Like for example, like when you met Prayag, you saw like why like he was able to communicate. Yo, he was like you said, he was a positive, good energy.
Yeah.
All he was able to do was so accurately portray that through a camera to a mass audience, right?
Facts.
Everybody who's like really my friend, they're all like they see now, like they've seen the things that like people are now attracted to the podcast about. Yeah, they're like, oh, like this is like who he's been. Yeah, forever. Yeah. Right,
no,
like
100%. Yeah,
like who you've been has been like before social media. Like I ain't changed for this, right? Like this has always been me.
And the people that do change are the people that usually you can see like easily,
and you see the fall off. Yeah, because you can only put up a sham for so long. You can only deceive people for so long. Yeah, eventually through people's like conversations, through people truly knowing you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, everything eventually comes out. Like people's true colors actually come when they want to come, you know? So
imagine you did this podcast, right? And like who I was, like obviously you've seen like clips of this before. Yeah. So you had like a certain perception. But then if imagine you came up here and met me and you were like
it's completely different. Yeah.
It's like, and I was a completely different person. You'd be like, all right, like this wasn't like.
Well, I mean, what I saw from your previous videos and all your other collaborations, like you're a conversationist. Like you know how to talk and, you know, entertain a conversation, and you're good at it and you engage. And I was like, whoa, that's like super impressive. Like, bro, you were killing it. I was like, yo,
people like really gas that up as like a skill, right? And I'm just like, yo, people make it so easy.
But it is low key a skill. Like just doing that itself is, you know, I don't know. Do you ever have social anxiety? Like when you're out in public, do you ever feel like you do, right? Yeah. So
I'm like, I always say like my friends joke around. Like I'm like usually like have like, this is gonna sound fucked up on camera, but I usually like, I like realize like obviously Ramadan just passed. Yeah. And I realized like how much I like actually socially anxiety drink. Yeah. Like I like realized like, oh, I need to like, if I'm like, again, like I'm super sociable, right? Like you talk to me, like I'll talk to you, right?
You can tell the difference though.
Yeah, like, and I'm an extrovert. Like my friends, like my friends be like, yo, stop it. You don't get social anxiety. But I'm like, nah, like around y'all is different, right? Like around my peoples, absolutely. I'm like always
collective,
But it's just like around like
random people,
and it's like a lot of people, and it's like,
how do you negate to turn it on? That's my question.
What?
How do you like, you know, you're at a public setting, right? And you need to be yourself, right? Do you have an on switch? Yeah. You do? Okay.
Yeah. I like come in, like, I like know in certain like rooms, I have to turn it on.
Yeah. And like, that's what I'm struggling right now. I'm not gonna lie.
You have to turn it on. Yeah. That's like something that like, again, like you got to find like that zone and like look at it. Like some of it, you just have to look at it as like, as a professional, that's what you have to do.
For sure. Yeah. But that's why I said it's truly a gift be able to talk to somebody, because I know so many people that like, especially like nowadays, this day and age, people are very superficial. So they won't even look at you if you're not even remotely like attractive, right? So going up to women in general, moving on from that, like women, if you approach a girl nowadays, she is judging you in every sort of way. It's how you present yourself, right? And how are you going to present yourself in 30 seconds? So if I were to ask you, you were to go up to a woman, what would you say in 30 seconds to get her number?
Yeah, I'm gonna sound like such an arrogant.
I'm interviewing you now.
I'm gonna sound like such like an arrogant piece of shit.
No, go for it, bro.
I don't ever think that I have had to go up to women. like I don't think I've ever. I can't relate. Like you know how like guys like again like I'm all for like if you're a shooter, you should shoot, right?
Facts. Shooters gotta shoot, bro.
But I don't ever think that like. Do you have that issue?
I don't go up to women.
But that's exactly what I had. But bro,
why am I twitching?
You joking, but like, you probably don't really have to.
So here's my thing. Like, I don't really go up to women at bars because my wife is not at a bar. Like, I feel like,
okay,
you know, like,
why do you think that?
If I feel like, have you seen How I Met Your Mother? I'm sure you have.
Yes.
So I'm Ted, pretty much.
That's you know how many girls that Ted shot at a bar?
Yeah, but I've never like I want to meet my future wife in like the most like natural way, like through friends of friends. I don't want to tell my kids like, hey guys, like I was at a bar and then like I saw her and I said hi and then she gave me her number. Like I don't want to say that. Like it's just not like, I don't know. I'm low key a romantic, right? So I want to be like, oh, I like the Bollywood inside me is like, oh yeah, like I was at a coffee shop and like we caught eyes and like I accidentally tripped and got up in front of her. I started talking.
I think
people are laughing in the back.
I think when it's like the right person, whatever story it is always going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
In your head, it's always going to be like super beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the way that it's going to feel like in your head.
Yeah.
Because imagine like you said like, oh, like I found her at a bar. I just shot at her, right?
Yeah.
That's like one story. But like the girl that you're truly meant for is not going to be that story.
Yeah.
The girl that you like, the way that you tell that story about the same situation, but like looks completely different is like, yo, I saw your mom. There's a billion people at this bar, and I just immediately only saw your mom. Like that's gonna be like the true way that you're gonna tell that story.
I feel like the true way is gonna be, Beta, I slid into her DMs. That's all
but even that, it could be like, yo, like I just knew that I had to like DM her, like whatever.
She just was so bad.
Yeah,
son, she was so bad. I had to.
Because like, listen, like bringing it back to the How I Met Your Mother thing, we look at that because like Ted's telling the story about like the thing.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the show where like the kids are like, wait, this story was not about mom at all.
Yeah, it was Robin.
It was just Robin the entire time. And you look at that and you're like, oh, the story is beautiful either way.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's the journey.
The journey of it. And I think like that's like the part that I would say like our generation kind of like loses that, right? Because of like internet perspective on like love and people's relationships. Yeah. They only want to put it into one cookie cutter way. Yeah. Right. And I'm just like, you guys aren't like living in the real world, right? Like where like true affection, true like love actually happens.
I can't really get out of that. I don't know how to look in the real world. I'm always like, I'm at like, okay, being in New York, bro, it's like a movie everywhere you go. Cause I'm from Texas, right? So me and my sister are just in the Uber, like, why does it look like we just see a bunch of movie sets? And it's like people are, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's like this weird feeling where it's like I'll meet my wife like walking down the street or something like that when we've seen so many movies and all this BS that we just assume could happen, you know? So
bro, it could like that, and that's what I'm like.
I would though? Come on, like
you are. I'm
gonna be my 5'2"
let me ask you
Muslim short brown girl walking across the road. Come on,
maybe.
Well, you know what I would do if that actually happened? I just keep walking. I just ignore her.
Yo, do you think that you're like a little jaded to love?
Yeah, bro, I am. Yeah. A little bit. I think because I've been in situationships, but I haven't really like been in a relationship in a while. So it's like being in situationships in and out is just draining mentally. You just don't feel like you're like that love is kind of slowly disappearing. And then my friends are getting married, so then they somehow bring it back up for me, you know?
I think that like you should talk to more of those friends because they'll like make you realize that like, yo, all that like the situationships are probably super draining to you.
For sure.
B, the internet relationship dialect is probably super draining to you.
Yeah.
Right? But when you like live in the real world, like when you find like your person, all this shit is gonna be like, oh, all this stupid internet discourse is actually the stupidest shit in the world, right?
How many times am I have to get on a flight to fly to see a girl for her to ghost my? Okay, that never happened. Maybe once, but yeah.
But like no, like I think like people like live like a lot of people I know like they like take and form their relationship opinions based off of like Twitter or Instagram or whatever, right? And it's like, oh, you don't live in the real world because as soon as you do, you stop giving like as soon as you find like your person, you stop giving a fuck about all of this. Like, oh, I need X, Y, and Z. I'm like, most of y'all don't actually need X, Y, and Z. Most of y'all don't even care about X, Y, and Z.
For sure, yeah.
It's like y'all just told the internet or somebody on the internet told y'all to care about that, and now you guys care about that.
That's 100% true. That's literally how it is nowadays. Like
if you looked on the internet, you'd be like, damn, like if I'm not 6 feet as a guy, I'm like really not, I have no emotion. I'm all like, bro, I know a bunch of 6 foot cornballs, right? I'm all like, you're not
you know,
like I've been a sniper since I've been this height since
I don't understand that logic either. Cause you'll meet guys and like they have everything except their personality, right? And like I've met dudes that are like, oh, bro, like good looking dudes, right, in the social media field, but dude, it's like talking to a wall, right? That's where I feel like I have an edge because I know I used to be a really chubby kid, so that's all I had.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, okay, I have that personality. That's kind of like how that confidence comes from. So that's where it comes, you know.
And honestly, like that is. Like what you're talking about, honestly, ends up chalking it up to like substance.
Yeah,
like you can like back to you could fool an audience for a little bit of time, but as soon as you get to know somebody, that's why I would say that like a lot of women probably have poor dating stories in New York is because like you're going, guys too, you're going based off of the look.
Yeah,
like oh she cute, she pretty, right? But then as soon as you get to know her, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Dry as hell.
Like that saying, you know, biryani isn't good without masala, bro. Like, you know, so
you need something to it.
Yeah, you make it spicy too. You know what I mean? Like, but that's still I just came up with that, but that's the whole situation behind it, and it's just that the whole thing you were talking about. Like, if you're him, you're him. You just,
I think like people like really got to focus like when back to like if you want to say like, yo, how do you become him, or how do you like, all of that? It's like, yo, honestly, just focus on like your emotion. Like, stop like trying to like build facades to pretend to be him, because like that on itself, right? Yeah. You might convince like somebody to like go on like a date with you or 2 dates with you, but as soon as they truly get to the core of it, like you got to be that through and through. Yeah. Like all of the things that like any guy promises to like a girl is probably the same things.
Facts. I want to get married, all this, I
want to get married, I want to have your kids, I'm going to build you a house,
every brown guy's like, yeah, let's get married, like 2 weeks in.
I'm going to treat you well, right? Like, put my name in your henna, like, or whatever the fuck, right? And it's like...
Eid Mubarak, baby.
Yeah, like stupid shit. And it's like, yeah, that's all fine, right? Like, everybody's shooting the same things, right? Yeah. But then what differs the crowd from the lions, or the crowd from him, or the crowd from her, is the substance under all of that.
Facts, yeah. And and even like whenever you're trying to go on dates, and like people right now who are dating, that's probably the hardest thing to find, that substance aspect, right? Like, you can go on a date with the pretty... I think I posted a video about that today where I basically said I was very interested in this girl that wasn't interested in me. And then we went on a date. She gave me that chance and I wasn't interested because she just didn't have the substance I wanted. Right? Looks can only take you so far, but I feel like the older you get, and you're 26?
27.
20, yeah, so you're the same age as me. You know this, the older you get, the more you realize that like looks are going to fade, and somebody's personality is what really makes you fall in love with them, And that's kind of what you want. And that's...
Because I think when we're younger, men especially, like we
don't give a shit.
We date from ego.
Yeah.
Like we date for like the girl that's like a flex. Yeah. Oh, to 100%. Our like friends. Like, yo, I'm dating like the baddie.
Yeah,
right? Like,
they're low-key killing. We're dying inside internally.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, because I know like a lot of guys that like, I look at their girl and I'm like, yo, she don't treat you that good.
Yeah.
But she's like...
She's the man, bro. Yeah.
But like, you probably feel like you swinging up. Like, you playing in a different league, and therefore you're willing to put up with a lot of bullshit.
It's her way or highway, pretty much, yeah.
Right?
It should be 50-50, but yeah.
It should be 50-50 in the sense of like, you should truly love that girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she should truly love you, right? Like, like when you say 50-50, you mean like the power dynamic, right? Like, it needs to be like, yo, like the same way like I fuck with you, you fuck with me.
For sure, yeah. She should be talking highly about you just like you're talking highly about her, And at a young age, I don't know if you can relate to this, we're probably going to choose the woman that is the most wanted and like the flex, right? Like, realistically, that's kind of how at a young age we look at it. We want like...
It's like cheerleader mentality. Yeah. I did the cheerleader.
I want that cheerleader. I actually dated a cheerleader, so it just makes sense. But yeah, and then like you realize you're like, oh my God, she's ruining my life. I can't do this. And then you move on. You kind of like find a different type of personality, and you kind of like grow as a person. And that's how people find the one. That's the whole story behind it. I wouldn't know, but yeah.
Are you still like an optimist when it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, last year not really, but this year, yeah. I hope the one actually comes true, right? Like, I feel like I kind of wish Bollywood created like a movie about like us, like nowadays, like how people like how Gen Zs are dating nowadays, because they don't have that. It's still you see a Yash Raj film and bro's like on a mountain with the girl like holding a like she's like in a sari, like all this crap, and it's like not realistic, right? Like, if they created some sort of like way where we can kind of relate to that, like I feel like a lot of people that are in the same shoes as me, or maybe, I don't know if you're single, can, they'll feel refreshing. They'll be like, oh, we're not alone in this, because it is kind of like a deep, dark hole, you don't know what to expect.
I think that like that comes through like a lot of like conversations with like your real like friends. Like when I like look around, like I definitely have friends that are like getting married and getting engaged, right? But I think like it's also like the environment that you're in. You're probably feeling that a lot more so in Texas,
for sure,
than I am in New York, right? Yeah. Because I see like here, it's like normal to see like 32-year-olds, 33-year-olds, 35-year-olds that are like still single or dating, like deciding like, hey, we're not gonna get married yet, or we're not gonna have a kid yet. Yeah, like that's like so much more common here. Some of it is definitely just like price inflation. But a lot of it is also like it's a lot more accepted. Yeah. Right. Like imagine like if I was thinking about it, if I was like in my town back in Jersey, right? Yeah. And I was like 30, like, what would I even do? Like, I wouldn't be able to have this podcast. I wouldn't be like trying to create. Like, I would just be like,
you
okay, like
at home with your grandparents, bro. You chilling? Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, like I guess the only thing really to do is get married and have a kid. And like, you still see that. Like, I think like a lot of people also still force that path in like their lives because they look at that as the accomplishment. Like, I've heard one of my friends of a friend, right? She was like always like she was always like the what's next person. Yeah. Right? She like went to college. What was next? Getting a great job. Yeah. What was next? Chasing the high. What was next? Yeah. Getting engaged. What was next? Getting married. What was next? Getting a house. Yeah, okay. Then she finally looks up one day after she buys the house, gets married, all of that. Yeah. And then she's like, damn, now there's no real what's next. Yeah. Like, there's no what's next. What's next? You sit at home, retire. Right? And and that's when she was like, wait, she looked at everything in her life. Divorced now. Because she was just like, yo, I did it all off of what was next. Yeah. But then once that ends and you're just like sitting with that person in the crib, there's nothing else next. Yeah. Now this is your real life. Yeah. And that's amazing if you love the person and you did it for the right reasons. Yeah. But if it's not because of that. You think she was just chasing a high that she never fulfilled? Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people, like, I think, like. But isn't that our, like, the Desi mentality that you have to do these things? Like, that's how we were raised to do. We were raised to have, oh, you go to college, oh, you have a kid, oh, you have a mortgage. But those were their highs. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I like think about it, I'm all like, yo, I dated a lot. Like, dated girls that I didn't even like really like my early 20s and all of that. Same. Yeah. Based off of the fact that I actually internally was always chasing this. Yeah. Like, I was always chasing the high that I get from this. And because I didn't have that, I just, again, like, that's well said. Yeah, you just consistently chase the high of like new women, like all of that, right? Yeah. And then you like look up and you're like, wait, I don't really like this girl. Like, it was the first once you got it, it was like new. It's like fresh because like, I used to always say like I love the chase. Bro, me too. Okay, we're red flags. But no. But that is only because you're chasing a specific high, a high that like you have to work for, a high that you have to like truly work for, right? And then when you get her, then what? It's done. Damn, bro, we're literally very similar people. But growth in that is understanding that like that high needs to be something a lot more sustainable. Yeah. Like for me, it's just chosen to be like this, right? Yeah. Like I know like the difficulty of the thing that I'm trying to build is essentially like going to keep me mentally occupied. Like there's always gonna be different highs for this. Yeah. Right? Like I'm sure like you feel that like the first time you cracked a K, 5K, 10K, 1 mil, right? Like those all came at highs. It's like I don't do drugs, but it's like when someone does drugs for the first time, right? Or I don't think you remember the first time you ever drank coffee. That high you had from coffee, right? You will never have the same high. Mm-hmm. It's the same sensation, and it's a very toxic feeling, like going viral. And obviously, that's a great feeling to have, but it's not good for your mental health because people are literally like, I know you know this, like, and you've probably experienced it. It's like they will find a way to kind of like chase that engagement and that high of views, and then when they get it, they're like, okay, what's next? What's next? And then it just crashes and burns if they don't make it. Right. And that's the problem with social media right now. You can't do anything about it. Like, that's what TikTok and Instagram is kind of like wanting all of it. That's what we crave. We crave views and engagement. And I've learned over time. That's the easy dopamine, though. Yeah. That's the easy dopamine. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you can relate to this. I'm sure you can. When you stop giving a shit about all that and you're just posting for true entertainment and for yourself, that's when it actually happens. Yeah, I would say right? So. I would say like, yo, like I never tried, like it would be really, I always say like, it would be really easy for this to go viral. Like I know exactly what I would need to say. Yeah. Like, I know like what type of spicy takes I would need to take. Like it'd be easy. Like it'd be overnight. Like I would just come up here, say a bunch of flagrant shit, right? We're getting canceled. But again, like it's like if that's like the only goal, right? Yeah. But when you truly just don't give a fuck and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna be like a complete master of my craft, right? Because now the highs for me are not number highs. The highs for me are like the level of guests that I get to talk to, right? Lifestyle experiences, B, the experience, right? And I would say like even more important than all of that is truly how good are these conversations? Yeah. Like to me, like the exciting part is not, I'm glad that I got to meet you for the first time. Yeah. But to me, it's like, what's gonna be my next high? Yeah. Like in terms of this is like, yo, if I can keep this going for another a year.
Yeah.
And then we get to run
You're
it back.
killing it, bro. You do it. Yeah.
We get to run it back because like there's an existing relationship.
Round 2, yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, the conversation is now better, right? It's like not an intro conversation.
Bigger.
Huh?
And we both bigger.
Yeah. Like that to me is like more exciting because like those highs is like not number based.
Yeah.
Those highs are based off of like something like truly substantial.
Yeah. Oh, that's well said. Yeah. I mean, that's like kind of, that's a very mature way to think about it. And, in the beginning, you can't think like that. It's like the fact that you have that logic is the correct logic to have. It took me a long time.
I get my moments.
Yeah.
We all have our moments.
Yeah. No one knows how to deal with it. Like, no one knows what they do when this happens. And I remember people ask me, some of my cousins, they'll ask me like, yo, what did you do to go viral? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just was posting content. Just post it. Like, literally, that's it. Like, and if you're scared to post it, that's on you.
Yeah.
And I mean, you never know what could happen.
I think it's like important to like, and like for me, like because I battle it too, right?
Yeah.
Like I battle like, like we had a week where like I think like Instagram or something was just like off, right? Like the entire like algo was just fucked up.
Yeah.
Like we weren't hitting any of our regular numbers. And I was like really going through it that weekend.
Yeah.
But it's like so important in those moments to like reground yourself in like your reality, right? Like your friends, your family, and be like, no. Like I have like.
You go back to your core purpose. Why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this? And also like, I have real value outside of like, if this Instagram page go away, I'm still a good brother. I'm still a good friend. I'm still like a real one, right?
For sure.
I'm still him.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm still him.
That's true. You're right. I agree.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always say like, people think like, oh, I just.
Damn, full circle. You just brought it back. Yeah.
People think I walk around talking this cash shit because I have a podcast. I was like, bro, like even before all of this shit,
none
like,
of it,
when I was just like, when I still am like just a regular analyst at my day job, I still talk this cash shit. Like,
but I guarantee you in the next year, wherever your podcast is, and hopefully it's popping as hell even more, you're going to get a different level of respect. People are going to just look at you differently because you have millions of views and all this stuff, and nothing has changed. Literally, the only thing that's changed is a number on a page.
That's like, that's the funniest hate comment when I get.
Yeah.
When they're like, when somebody hate comments be like, yo, he talking so spicy for somebody who has X amount of followers, right? I'd be like, yo, y'all don't realize.
Yeah.
I was talking this spicy before I had an Instagram page.
Yeah.
Like I've always like, because they think that it's because if they were in that spot, that's where they would deem their relevancy from. But like where I deem my like relevancy from and where I deem my like, yo, I'm him is like my friends, my family, like the people who I truly give a fuck about co-signing me.
It's not a race. It's a marathon. Literally.
It really is. So now 2 years in.
Yeah.
What do you like? Do you have like a long-term view on this as like a career?
Yeah. So I basically went full time, right?
Okay.
My family, we have what does every Desi person do in Houston?
I don't know.
They own gas stations.
Okay.
So my family, they have like gas stations and real estate and stuff. So I kind of help out my family with that, and then I do social media as well. So I do that, and once I started growing on there, I kind of realized like this is not gonna last forever. So my goal is to create something out of it, and I am working on something. So in May of this year, I'm launching something that it's like top secret and everyone will see eventually. So it's kind of just to build a brand out of it. Like you see Christian Guzman and like, I don't know if you know Shali Coker and like Max Tuning. These are all people that are from Houston, and they started Alpha Elite and Inaka Power. And I don't know if you've heard of them. And Sour Strips. Like I literally like saw Sour Strips during COVID, and now it's like insane. Right? So that's my entire mentality about it. Like I don't want to be 33 years old sitting at an airport saying, oh, I'm going to go chase the woman of my dreams. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, respect whoever's trying to chase the woman of their dreams, but it's content at the end of it, right? Like you just want to entertain the audience, and I'm kind of trying to build that to kind of build a business from it. So that's kind of the whole point.
That's like the part of it that I'm like really like, I'm glad that you are have that mentality already and like looking down the line because like you have like a true following, right? Like people always like, I'm like, yo, like you've already built, like a lot of these creators have already built a sales funnel. Yeah. It's like, now go do something with it. Because like everyone thinks that it's just so easy. Like, oh, I'm going to become like a viral. I'm going to have a bunch of followers. And then somebody's going to hand me a business and make it sustainable. No, they're trying to do their shit for their own business.
Even the businesses, like I tried last year too. And like, it's so hard to sustain. So last year I started a company called The Beard Mark. And it was a drop shipping business. Very chill. Back then it was trending. And it was just like one of those beard pens, right? Did really well. Like, alhamdulillah, did insane. But I couldn't handle it. Like the amount, like I didn't have a team. So I had to shut it down. But it was just a learning experience, right? So it's like, if you want to do social media full time, go for it. Like, no one's telling you not to do it. The only person that's stopping you is yourself, right?
And like the full-time piece of it, like people don't understand. Like they think it's just like, yo, you're not just like, people think that they can just survive on being just a content creator.
Yeah.
And some people are, right? Like they just get brand deals and all that. But that's such a small percentage.
Yeah.
You have to think like, if that doesn't happen,
For sure.
what is your still plan to like be relevant and even be sustainable enough to get the next thing?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's all about relevancy too, right? Like last year, I'll have more engagement, but I'll have brand deals that offered me more than this year when you have a higher following and you have less engagement, right? And I met so many people that just don't know how to market themselves. Like these people have 500,000, maybe even, I remember I met a guy and I had more brand deals than him. And this was in LA, I was at a party and he was telling me, he's like, bro, I've seen all these brand deals. How you getting? I was like, bro, you're not marketing yourself.
Talk about that. So when you say that, like, what do you mean? Because like, are you like getting just like brands reaching out based off of like your content, or are you doing some level of outreach?
So no, I initially when I was growing, I did, and like the bigger I got, the more they started coming, and I realized like they want why would a company hire you, right? You want to put something out there that kind of like it's like an advertisement. So I was doing these funny skits of me dating and going on all this stuff. And like, I was doing numbers. But then when I started making Get Ready With Me's and like men's fashion things, like I had my audience shifted more to men, right? And it like kind of engaged more with brands. So brands were like, oh, he's doing a Get Ready With Me. I'm going to send him a product. Oh, I'm going to send him a brand deal. And there was one last year I did one. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just giving you guys numbers. That like it hit 3 million views. It was one of the times where ASMR videos were popping. And Amazon gives you 10% commission, right? So I had my trimmer on there. Bro, I made $1,000 and I'm just being completely honest because I mean, why not? People want to know based upon people clicking it. So I was doing the math and I was like, if I made $1,000 from 10% commission, how much did I make, right? It's like a good amount. Like probably, I'm not going to say the number, but it's like, it just proves that like, that's how brands are going to reach out. Cause after that, I got actual brand deals and people were sending me like their trimmer or what is that? Their straight razors and like offering me like, I just got a recent one with Old Spice and it's just like, it kind of, you have to make yourself marketable, right? And that's kind of it. And you keep posting, it'll go viral eventually. You know,
so you would say like now at like this point in your career, it's like mostly brands reaching out to you.
Yeah. It's like I'm very fortunate for it. Like super blessed to be in that position. But like you're still money hungry, right? You're still hungry. You still want to make more, and you still want to grow as a person. So you have to have that like outlook of like, if this doesn't work, like you said, how are you going to transition to having your own business and like building upon that?
Because you also have to think that like you're still. And that's like why I'm so like adamant. Not everyone can do it. That's why I'm so adamant on like people like creating their own business. Rather than because you're essentially when you're doing these brand deals, you're helping somebody build their brand, which is fine, right? Because it serves a true purpose, right? Because you talked about it. If it got 3 million views, how many clicks - buys did it get them? Right? Probably a chunk. So it's like if you could even do a percentage of that for your own self.
Exactly. And the hardest part, right, the project I'm working on, bro, it's really hard to, whenever you're not like already established and you're not like, you don't have a shit ton of money to throw out, it's very hard, right? It's very hard to like do things on your own, create your own website, Shopify link, hire creators, get a marketing team. Like it's difficult and it makes sense. And like the risk to reward is insane. So
again, like but you probably have experience with it, like because your family has businesses, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And that it is like a big important part of like learning how to do it. Because like I would say, like my edge is really not like my edge is like it is probably is as a podcaster, but my edge is that like I've made and failed multiple businesses.
Well, you have to fail to succeed, right?
Like I know what a business requires for it to be profitable, functional. I'm like, I talk to so many creators. I'm like, y'all don't even know what y'all overhead is.
Yeah.
You don't even know like what y'all need to break even on this. Because you think this content creation shit is free.
Yeah.
Bro, your travel, your time,
For
right?
Sure.
It's like you're not even budgeting that in.
Yeah.
So like you don't even know, like that's what like when
that's
people,
a mature outlook on it because most people don't understand that. Yeah.
bro, that's the only outlook to make it a true real business, right?
Sure,
it's like how do you know what to I had to run this back when like I started getting like deal offers. I was like, how do I know what to charge these people if I don't even know what it takes for me to break even?
Yeah.
Like if I don't know what that like that time and that like for example, you made like a let's say a 2-minute video.
Yeah.
What did it take you? The prep, the time, whatever, right?
Sure, yeah.
The sketching of it. You don't have a
I don't actually do that, but yeah. I have like every Sunday or Monday I'll like create like a list of things I want to post. And then like the day of I'll figure it out.
In your head.
Yeah.
But again,
I'll do it daily.
But that they're paying you for something. They're paying you for your creative.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're paying you. Like again, like some of us have edge.
Yeah.
Like some people think like, yo, like I know some of my peers, like they do mad research, they got scripted questions, right?
That's crazy.
And I'm all like, damn, I just be showing up. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like
I knew you were gifted. I knew.
But I'd be showing up. I mean, of course I do my research.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but it's like, oh, like they got like scripted questions. They know how they're gonna flow their thing. And I'm like, damn, I'm just here on vibes.
It's not entertaining. I mean, look, correct me if I'm wrong. If it's scripted and like they have all these questions, it doesn't really turn organic, and it turns into like something people will get bored, right? Like you want to be yourself, and like how you're reacting, and we're having a conversation. Before the podcast, we didn't even like we were just talking.
Yeah.
This is really the same. It's nothing has changed, you know. So that's why I knew I was like, whoa, like he can talk, you know,
Chillin'.
which is great, bro. You know?
Yo, I think we're wrapping up, but we end every podcast with a segment called Call Your Shot, presented by Jungly. I ask guests, like, basically, this is my idea of like goal setting - manifesting. The idea being is something you say here, next 3 to 5 years, whether personal life, professional, something that you are going to make happen. And the goal is that you say it here, and then I could hit you in a year or 2 years, whenever you make it happen, and be like, oh shit, yeah, I did that, right? Because it's documented now, right?
For sure.
So, call your shot.
Okay, so I mean, I'm a big believer on manifestation. So I'm manifesting for me to have $500,000 by the end of this year, right?
$500,000?
Yeah, $500,000. I'm just going for it. That's a number. And you guys to pop off. Y'all create y'all are gonna be the new face of Brown TikTok. Basically Brown Nation, like whatever they call it, you know?
Talk about $500,000. How far are you right now?
I think I'm not close to that at all. But I mean, you gotta shoot for the stars and you can land on the moon, right? So that is a goal, right? Once I get to $500,000, we'll see what happens. See how I said once, not if I get there.
Not once.
And that's kind of the mentality everyone should have. It's not about like if you're gonna do it. You should just do it. So
I think like people like play that off as like cocky or arrogant. But it's like, yo, what's wrong with being confident about my goal? Like if I'm putting in like the work and I know like my confidence in my skill set, why should I not think that I could do that, right? Like you want me to think that I can't do it, basically guaranteeing that I can't do it.
You already didn't think I could be here, so like what is your opinion gonna matter anyways if I make it there, right? So
yo, appreciate you doing this, and yo, next time you're in the city.
Yeah, bro. All
right, G. Appreciate you.
Sick, yeah.
Yo, thank y'all for listening. Peace.
Later. Yeah.
We good?
Damn, that was really good.
Amazing.